Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Football is Fixable Alright podcast with me, James, and as usual, I've got Dan with me, and the original is back.
The leader.
Cess is back. Hello, Cess.
Yeah, order is restored. Fear not.
Did you enjoy your freedom, Cess? We did.
Hey, there was a sense of freedom last week. You know that the dictator wasn't here. We felt more like we could express ourselves. You know?
Yeah, but then it just became disorganized. There just was this like clout, you know.
But obviously now you're back, Cess. Of course, we miss you so much. It's so lovely to have you back.
That's right.
We're all on board and we're here ready to go.
Exactly.
He's such a
well
brown
done,
nose.
number two.
He's such a brown nose.
Well, that's how he's
just
number
playing the
two.
game.
Dan, I think you've got something on your nose there. I mean, how much of a suck-up can he be? Cess is such a dictator that Dan is clearly being instructed to have to play the kind of career, be nice guy to try and further
he's made
himself.
it above you already, and it's only been a few months.
Yeah. Maybe I'm doing it by choice. Maybe it's not blindly. Maybe it's willing.
Yeah,
You know?
that's very true. Yeah, you're just assuming that he's doing this just out of fear, almost of me, but maybe there's just real respect.
Look at
you
him.
know?
That's fear I see in his eyes. That's fear right there.
Look, James, just look. Don't just. You're clearly upset that I just have a little bit less pride than you do.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about
Backbone, we call it. Yeah.
yeah. Just play the game a little bit, you know.
I've got to start sucking up to you as well.
Yeah.
On my own podcast. This is just unbelievable.
it. It's not your podcast, though, is it? It's Cess's.
Right.
Exactly.
Sorry,
Right.
so
I came up with the
intervene,
idea
Cess.
originally, and then James tries to kind of jump on the whole bandwagon, and he tries to claim it's his.
Yeah.
But hey, let's face it, we both know he's never really had an original idea. He steals it from other people and then claims it's his.
He just presents the ideas. He is the presenter, right?
Yeah.
He's Yeah,
exactly, which we allow.
To be fair, I understand. Like I had one episode of presenting, and it does go to your head. I know. I've been there. I experienced it, and I thought I was the king of the world. So
King of
doing
the
it every
world.
single week.
Wow.
Yeah, I understand.
I do, I appreciate, I do add the style to it. I get that, but I'm just going to say my lawyers will be in touch because this whole copyright infringement, I mean, it can't go on.
We've always said you have the face for a podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So how have our weeks been, guys? So we had good weeks. What have we been up to? Cess, you were away. What were you up to?
I visited Vienna.
Vienna? Oh,
Yeah.
damn, we went to Vienna, didn't we?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
yeah,
we did.
I saw
It was
you guys
good.
wrote.
It was lovely.
James and Dan was here.
In a heart.
Yeah.
In a heart. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I
Did you said with
Yeah.
and Cess later?
Did
or
you
something?
said?
Did you said? Did you say?
Yeah, I just added it. So was Cess. Yeah.
So was Cess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I did enjoy Vienna.
It's a nice
It was
place,
lovely.
Vienna, isn't it?
It was.
yeah, but in that
Yeah,
time, while
yeah,
I was
yeah.
there, you guys were running rampant and chatting about any old rubbish. I can't even remember.
What are you talking
We
about?
fixed over-analysing.
That was it,
didn't we?
over-analysing.
Yeah, we
And
did.
now no one
Well-
has to over-analyse anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, the irony
Alan-
is that you guys over-analysed over-analysing.
Yeah,
we did.
Who was the chap from the pub?
We
that,
did. But
I don't think
to be
he's
fair,
not coming on
yeah,
again. is he?
Alan fixed it. Alan fixed it, didn't he? Alan fixed it. He kind of was brief. He came in and he put us in our place, and then he went away.
He ended up just
we'll never see
storming
him
off
again.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's coming back. But yeah, it was nice of him to come in, and he nicked some of our like tea. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got
We'll
a black eye from last week where he knocked me out. He was so angry with the analysis.
The over-analysis.
So was he in London then, not Bristol? I'm quite confused as to where he was sat.
Oh, that's true.
he was. We were all.
It was in the
Stop-
mythical
stop breaking
studio.
the illusion,
Mythical
Cess.
studio. Yeah.
We're
Mythical
we were
studio
all in the
land.
same room together, which happened to be next to a pub. In this make-believe place that we made.
I see.
But actually, he was northern, so
You see,
that happened
you
to
see
be-
what happens
yeah.
without all of the order and structure that I give you guys. You're talking about mythical
All right.
studios and this made-up Alan.
He just leaves us
You know
for,
what? You
for
know-
1 week, and it
Yeah,
all went.
it suddenly
You know
becomes
my
Alice in
point?
Wonderland.
Yeah. I'm just going to break the fourth wall for a second. So you know my point I just made about presenting. So for everyone listening, today Cess has decided to time us with a stopwatch. I think the power of the stopwatch has gone to your head a little bit here.
It has. He's just been waving it at me a minute ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me that, that angry look.
I've always been the creative director
Strong
and editor.
dictator, we call it.
You really emphasised
strong
the first
stopwatch
syllable there.
energy.
It was quite satisfying.
Strong stopwatch energy coming off of Sess today.
Right then. Well, I think it's time we looked at what we can fix this week. And Sess and I were
Oh yeah, let's talk about football. Yeah.
Sess and I were talking earlier. It's something which we've been fixing this for years, really, haven't we? Just to ourselves, but it's time we brought it to the public.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at fixing football player names. So let's get into the episode then, shall we?
Let's do it.
Fixing football players' names. So this has come from. So Sess and I have been doing this for years, right? Haven't we?
It's actually been well over a decade.
Hasn't it?
I remember. Okay, so the way this has come up about footballers' names, this is the earliest memory I have of it. We were in a Sunday League game, so this must have been, possibly 15 years ago.
Yeah. We are old. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Whenever it was that Sergio Romero went to Manchester United, the goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
And
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so however
I can't
long
remember
ago
when
that was, I remember saying to James that my dad asked me, is Sergio Romero a good player? Like, I haven't seen him play yet. Is he a good player? And I said to him, he's called Sergio Romero. Of course he's a good player, He's not called, like, Jason Tomlinson down the road.
No, yeah, you're not going to be playing for Man United in goal with a name like that, are you?
Yeah. Sergio Romero.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
when
fair
Luis
enough.
Suarez, Sergio Aguero...
Yeah, Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah.
The name, when you hear Alexis Sanchez, you're destined to be an elite footballer.
Yeah. Cristiano Ronaldo was never going to be a substitute French teacher.
No.
He was destined for greatness,
Yeah, you see Jonathan Smith. Now, that's somebody who would be the French teacher.
Yeah. Janitor or something.
Yeah.
I mean, the MotoGP legend, he's won everything. He's an absolute legend in the motorbike sports. I don't know, motorsports. And I don't really know how to call it. And the thing is, he is called Valentino Rossi.
Oh, what a name.
Now, that is, he was.
Yeah, it's a great name.
I bet he's probably never even practiced in his life. He's never even raced. He just turns up and they go, "Yeah, here's the trophy. You've won it."
You're on for something.
Yeah.
And this is Sess and I were watching a football game earlier, so it was the Everton Ipswich game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there was a player on there, and this is what just brought the topic up again, because there's a player for Ipswich called Morsey or Morsey. Is it Morsey?
They pronounced it Morsey, but we thought it was Morsey at the start.
Morsey, yeah.
Yeah.
And Sess was like, that already sounds like a footballer's nickname.
Yeah. Like someone who's called something more. And
or
then you
Morse,
go, "All right,
Morse
Morsey."
or more. Yeah. You think, all right, Morsey. All right,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So what would his
Yeah,
nickname
true.
be? So we've got to fix
true.
nicknames, we've got to fix names. There's
Yeah.
lots to get in here. You've also mentioned something called the Lewis problem, which we're going to have to try and figure out.
Yeah, that's true.
Why don't you tell us, right, what is the Lewis problem, Sess? Tell us now. Tell us now.
I believe only in this generation of footballers, for some reason, there is a lot of Lewises. So you've got Miles Lewis Skelly, Lewis
Yep.
Miley,
Lewis Dunk.
Lewis Dunk, Lewis
Cook.
Potter, Lewis Cook. Yeah, there's all of a sudden all these Lewises. What's his name in Man City? Rico Lewis.
Rico Lewis. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many Lewises. You look at any team and there's a Lewis somewhere.
So it's like the trendy footballer name all of a sudden.
Somehow, yeah. And some of them are
Strange,
surnames,
yeah.
so they've been around for a while. But when I pointed it out to you, we saw 2 or 3 in the team. Not this game, but about a week or
a
two
couple of
ago.
weeks ago when you said it.
Yeah.
You think, actually, there are a lot of Lewises, aren't there?
Yeah, and you don't hear it with any other names. I just don't understand why all of a sudden we have a lot of Lewises.
Yeah. So yet another thing we
it's
need to fix with names.
Yeah.
There's too
I
many
suppose
Lewises.
it's a good tip. It's a good tip for any parent that wants their child to be a professional footballer when they're older. They're trying to think of a name.
Just put Lewis in there. Yeah.
Just Lewis.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
He'll be a footballer.
I mean, at the very least,
Sorted.
Lewis, that's fair enough for an like a traditional English name. But then wouldn't you want to go down the route of Cristiano Ronaldo? We were saying about Ronaldinho. You're not going to have a Mr. Ronaldinho, the music teacher, are you?
Ronaldinho is not a chartered surveyor, is he?
Yeah, he's going to be a
hello,
footballer.
I'm your
But
chartered
this is-
surveyor. What's your name? Ronaldinho, just Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
The thing is,
You know,
like,
you're not-
thing is with Brazilian like heritage and stuff though, like Brazilians are so confident they're going to be footballers, they don't even need two names. They just have one.
They just have one.
They're so confident.
That's just their nickname
in their
as well.
footballing name.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have amazing names. This like really long Ronaldo do Nascimento and all that stuff. And then they go, "What do you want to be called?" Oh, Pele.
Oh,
Oh, right, that's it then. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hulk, didn't they? Remember Hulk?
Hulk, yeah. But then they do go, I mean, they had Miranda. They had Joe played for Man City, and Everton as well,
Portsmouth,
actually.
I think it was as well, was it?
Yeah. Fred.
Do you know?
Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Man United
Oh,
legend.
yeah, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know, I'm trying to think of the other end of the spectrum where it really does prove it. And actually, I thought of a good. Do you remember when I lived with you guys and we used to do on Pro Evo Soccer? You could name a character.
Oh yeah, there was
remember?
so many listed recorded names, wasn't there?
Yeah. And James had his own team, and he'd pick when we do the five-a-side on a Sunday. James had his own team, and he'd pick players and stuff, and he made one for me.
Yeah, I created a Dan.
Yeah,
You created me
created
as well.
Dan.
I did. Yeah, I created
Yeah.
both of us. We had a Bath Chronicle game.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, he was. I remember him creating me, and he was really brutal with the stats, and I was really offended. But that's by the by. Anyway,
I think I
when-
gave
when
you
he
really
was
good
picking
running
out-
stats because you never stopped running. You didn't really do
No,
much, but you just ran.
yeah, but
You wouldn't stop.
for you, good for me was like, I'll give you like a 60 for that. Oh, cheers, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
But my point for the names thing. So there's you can put someone in the commentary. You can put the name in the commentary so they can shout out your name. And you couldn't find Baron. There was no Baron
There's no
there
Baron.
to pick
Yeah, I
out
remember. Yeah.
at all. There wasn't. And the only one that was Baronio. Right? So that was the closest one, right?
But he'd say it
Baronio.
like Baronio.
Oh my god! Every single time the commentator said it, I heard it, and I'm like, not even an Italian version of a name sounds like a footballer. I'm never going to be a footballer.
Baronio.
I was like, Baronio. It just didn't sound.
But it probably made
actually
you play
right at all.
better.
And it
being
did.
called Baronio.
Do you remember was it your 21st? I got you the Man United
Yeah,
top
yeah.
with Baronio 21 on the back.
I
so
still,
he's got that.
I still have that. My 2-year-old daughter got it out of my wardrobe the other day and was wearing it around the house. So
And it's
yeah,
Baronio on the ball.
I used to have that.
Yeah, but
I remember,
yeah.
I don't know, last time Pez was out, we must have been like 18 or 19 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember I created a character, and obviously there was no Cecil or anything like that.
Yeah.
So the closest I could find was Cicinio.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's like
Oh,
that was like one of your
fantastic.
names on like Facebook or something.
Yeah, it
wasn't
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was actually a Brazilian guy. I joined a five-a-side team with Brazilians. I played in a tournament with Brazilians.
I mean,
It was
that
amazing.
That's like in cars. You have to be a petrol head. You have to drive an Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo, yeah.
To be a footballer, you have to have experienced that. That's why I hired Cess for this podcast. That he's got the credentials, that the added gravitas because of
You're
his football
you're
experience.
trying too hard to make a name for yourself in my podcast right now.
This is. I remember the first time on Pro Evo, I was creating like the first Pro Evo I had, which was PES 1 when it first came out, which was
Yeah.
like 2000 or something. So I listened to some of them when they've even been born, and I was, you can create your own players, and it let you do it. So I created this player, didn't really have much of a concept for height, and so about that high, or whatever. Then the first game, I picked myself to play, and I'm like this massive ogre running over everybody else, just scoring headers. I look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame kind of thing, but like 7 feet tall. It was, but I was faster. I gave myself 99 on everything, so I was fast, strong, powerful.
Wow.
It was amazing. But
Obviously,
I
you do that.
But his face that I created, it looked like somebody you'd see in some sort of
See?
fantasy horror film or something. It was
See
quite
how he
scary.
does that for himself. See, he does that for himself when he makes his friend a character. He can barely make himself give him a 60.
Yeah, but you're called Baronio. The whole point is that with these names, it makes you great. And actually, we also had another theory where if you do have a name that's really standard, like John Terry, for example, the universe balances it out by making you a horrible person.
Ooh, that's an interesting theory there.
Yeah. So, you could be called Ronaldinho, and because you're called Ronaldinho, you have incredible ball skills. And
Techers.
Yeah, absolute techers. But then John Terry, brilliant player, but it's a regular name, so it will make you a horrendous human being.
That had to balance out.
Yeah.
Mm.
But then what about like Owen Hargreaves? Because to me, Owen Hargreaves doesn't sound like a footballer at all. It sounds
Owen
like
Hargreaves?
an accountant.
But
or
he
something.
was.
It's not just an accountant. I think it sounds like an actual chartered accountancy.
Oh, it does it? Accountancy firm.
Yeah, you need to go and see Owen Hargreaves.
Stop by. I've got to stop
Owen
by
Hargreaves,
Owen Hargreaves.
LLP.
Yeah, exactly that. But no, I think he was in a way punished because he was a really good player, but he was punished with injuries. That was probably why.
Yeah.
So this is a real issue in
Oh.
football. Players who have names that they shouldn't have, they're getting punished by the football gods.
Yeah.
They
So,
really are.
okay.
It's
And
a
it's
real
good.
issue.
Yeah, it gets balanced out. I mean, some people in general, I would say, are so cool that they make you forget the names that they have. Like Sean Connery is such a cool guy that everyone forgets he's called Sean. All right, Sean. You know?
Yeah, for somebody of his stature,
Yeah.
the legend, Sean Connery. And you also have to say Sean Connery because you can't leave Sean
Yeah,
isolated.
Yeah, you can't just say Sean.
On its own, that doesn't live up to the man.
Well,
Yeah,
So
I'm sitting next to Sean today, and then Sean Connery sits next to you and you go, oh, it's
I'm
Sean
sitting
Connery.
next to Sean Connery.
You didn't say Sean Connery, you just said Sean.
So people don't. So it's not just football. This is in life. How important names are.
Yeah.
This is true.
But yeah, I have to say,
What's the-
when I have a son or daughter, I'm going to name them like Sergio Fernandez or something.
Yeah.
Just no matter what the gender is, just so they're going to be good at football.
Yeah.
What was the one that Seth brought up the other week, a few weeks ago? Oh yeah, Hansi Flick.
I'm sorry to any Germans out there, but for us, it just sounds like, I don't know. It's just, I'm Hansi Flick, yeah.
And Sess is acting like you can't see this, listeners, but Sess is flicking his hand as he's doing that impression.
He's very rightly pointed out it's an insanely camp name, isn't it?
I don't know how you guys didn't notice.
It's only until you said it. I just broke down. It was so hilarious.
It's a name.
But,
Yeah, it's a name for Broadway, not the bench.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, that kind of name, even though we could say that it sounds like a camp name, it's still a name that stands out. It's not just a regular name. He's not called like
Yeah, that's true.
Simon Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
that's the other thing. So if it's not going to be flamboyant, shall we say, like the Sergio Aguero, Alexis Sanchez names, it has to stand out. It has to be
Yeah.
iconic. Thomas Tuchel, that's
Yeah,
quite it's a memorable name. It's a footballer's name.
The
So-
Tuchel bit actually just balances out the whole Thomas bit. You know?
Exactly.
He'd just be Tom otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You wouldn't call him Thomas or Tom. You
No,
call him
no.
Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
And it's like Trent Alexander-Arnold, isn't it? There's certain names you have to say together for it
Like
to make
Harvey
sense.
Barnes. No one's ever called him Harvey before. I'm sure when he was born, his parents were going to say, all right, Harvey Barnes.
That's Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. I've got one more problem I need to bring up, and that is double-barreled names. Have you noticed in football, in the press, especially the Premier League, there's a lot more double-barreled footballers now. So in terms of, you've got Miles Lewis-Skelly you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
You've got Morgan Gibbs-White.
Is Dewsbury Hall double-barreled, or is that one
yeah,
word?
I think it is.
It is.
And it also, coincidentally, the first ever footballer named after a concert venue as well. Isn't
Yeah, he really sounds like, we just hired out the Dewsbury Hall. Yeah.
it? Yeah. Remember, Dan, be at the Dewsbury Hall for 7 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got Emil Smith Rowe.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
you could go through several teams in the Premier League, and there's several but what happens like in the next generation? If this has happened, this is the first real generation we've seen it at this scale. What happens in the next generation? They marry and they have what if two people with double-barreled surnames marry?
You have to keep adding 2 each time.
So it'd be here's Emil Gibbs-White Smith Rowe. Then they just have to add it all together, and you won't be able to fit it on the football shirts.
Yeah.
So
Well, you kind of have a little bit of that already, don't you? You have a lot of players now that just have their first name on the back of their shirts, don't they?
Well, there we go. Well, as everyone can figure out there, then there's a lot of issues with footballer names. Let's get into the fixes, shall we, guys?
Let's do it.
Right, so how are we going to fix the whole issue of footballers' names then, boys?
Well, I've got one quickly for the Lewis thing, but I think that one's quite simple. Stop calling your children Lewis. And actually, it's a generational thing. So they're all in like their, I don't know, teens and 20s now, aren't they, playing? So maybe that's already fixed. Maybe it's just a wave. They're no longer called that.
It might be a cycle, though. So when the Lewises now have children,
Yeah.
Or, that generation, other people that look up to the Lewises now might name their children Lewis.
That's true. So it'll come in, what, 20-year waves,
Every
I suppose?
15, 20 years, you'll see another wave of Lewises coming through. But I suppose that's acceptable, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll come back to that in our 21st season of this podcast.
We'll fix it then.
Yeah. But actually, I do have one genuine fix.
Oh, right.
And that's more the Brazilian way. We were saying how they normally have like these huge long names, but then they just pick one kind of like a nickname. And that's like, there's a word for it, Bono, Madonna, they have one name, Beyonce. And if you have one name, you're going to become famous, really, aren't you? It doesn't matter about your talent.
Again, it's punchy, it stands out, because everyone has, all these losers with 2 or 3 names.
Yeah.
If you have one name, you stand out.
Exactly.
And it's much quicker to get in touch with those people, so that's more convenient as well.
Yeah.
Will it go too far though and go like Prince level, and we'll have a footballer formerly known as Lewis?
No.
I mean, you'll know. Well, actually, you would normally know who they are, but there's too many Lewises, so you won't know.
And it's Lewis. Pass to Lewis.
Yeah,
pass to Lewis, and he's crossed it, and Lewis scores.
I mean, you have Lewis Miley and Miles Lewis Skelly.
No,
that's way too confusing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a real problem.
But this is what I mean. So now, any player that has a regular name, I can't think of one right now, but any player that has a regular name,
John,
but an actual professional player that might have a regular name.
Oh, I see. Right.
They should just
Johnny
say,
Evans. Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans. I like it.
Name.
All right. So Johnny Evans, he should just be told, right, you need to pick a nickname now and just choose it, and he'll go like, I want to call myself Ronaldo. And you go, right, you're sticking with that. You've got your one name. Now you're an awesome player.
Wow. We need to snip that bit and just have that. Just says Ronaldo.
If you guys could pick one name for yourself, what would it be?
Ooh. Now that is a good question.
That is a good question.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll have to stick with for the rest of our lives.
For the rest of our lives. And on the back of our football shirts, we have it as well. Ooh.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't say Jamesio. That doesn't really work, does it?
No, maybe Venegor of Hesselink.
Yeah, Venegor of Hesselink. That on the shirt. Do you remember it would go all the way around the shirt?
And that
wouldn't it?
stands out, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So he was obviously going to be. He wasn't that great as a player, but he made it as a professional because of the name.
Yeah.
So when I'll give you just a brief story. Like in my job, I deal with loads of different backgrounds, loads of different people buy cars. There was this one Sri Lankan guy I dealt with, and he was one of the nicest men in the world ever. Small little guy, really small little voice. And he comes in and he orders a car, and I have to get his name so I can do the order. And he goes, Sithan Paranathan Tiruthani Heinathan, but you can call me Nathan.
Whoa!
Wow!
He just named it. It was like the longest name in the world. To this day, I still remember it. But it was like, "But you can call me Nathan," and it was the coolest line ever.
I got a friend who did that. Yeah, a Sri Lankan friend who basically took the last bit, the Nathan bit, and you could just call him that. To be honest, actually, I might, if I was choosing a name, I might stick with Cicinho. Because that's what the Brazilians called me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's copping out. That's not
fair.
I need to figure out what I'm going to do.
I was anointed that by Brazilians. I mean, you've got to take that.
This is why my career was tragically cut short, because my name is not a Brazilian name. It's not a footballer's name. James.
Hello.
I mean, you're not going to...
I'm surprised.
I've gone into academia because of that name.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you wouldn't have just gone straight with Dennis, to be honest with you, James.
That's true, yeah.
Cess will know this. I was called Dennis by my closest friends at school.
Oh, I'm Dennis.
So that wasn't me. They started calling me
and bore it with a badge of honor.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Absolute pride.
Whoever came up with that was clearly the proudest day of James' life, wasn't it?
You know when you Cess was talking about this before we started recording, actually. When you put a shirt on of something which has that gravitas, has like the Real Madrid shirt, or if I wear an Arsenal shirt, I play better kind of thing. That name, I was suddenly called Dennis.
I'm playing well now.
I'm playing just like Dennis Bergkamp. This is amazing. I'm lobbing the keeper.
I mean, if you think about it, with professional players, David James they always get called by their surname, so he was called James.
Yeah.
But the universe balanced it out by making him Calamity James.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So it's probably good that I retired from playing football before that happened to me as well. Then.
You decided not to go into the professional football industry, did you?
Exactly.
Yeah, you went down the teaching route.
Yeah. I just thought it was the better option for I don't know, the football gods, they sent me that message. You
Yeah.
know, I felt it.
I
the
get
presence.
you. It's like me and Carlos Vela. We decided to go different routes in our careers.
Yeah.
He went the whole professional football, and I thought, you know what? That's not for me.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
At birth, you know, it's as twins.
Yeah.
You know, it was either way. You could have gone anywhere, but Carlos Vela was the natural football fit, wasn't it? That's the thing.
He was called Carlos Vela. I mean,
It's Carlos Vela. You're
he was
going to be an
always
elite
like that.
footballer.
Yeah.
Whereas
true.
if you're called Nigel Gutterbert or whatever it is, your name you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
you're not going to be a footballer. You're going to be like a chartered surveyor
Yeah.
or whatever. It
Yeah,
is,
exactly. Like,
Having-
hello,
having
I'm
said
Jonathan Snoggletot. Yeah.
You know? You're not going to be
That's-
winning the World Cup anytime soon, Jonathan.
That's another good one. Who was a footballer? Nigel Winterburn.
I was thinking about Nigel Winterburn, but then Winterburn
Since when do you have
sounds- I don't know. That sounds like a very nice village.
Oh, it does. Well, there is a place called Winterbourne, I think, isn't there?
Oh, is it? Oh, maybe
I
that's
think there is a village called that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. What about you,
it's-
Dan? What's your name going to be? We got Dennis and Cecina.
I think I'd probably
Are you sticking to Baroni or
yeah.
Dan.
I'm trying to think of
the Brazilian way?
That's it,
Dan.
yeah. That's it,
Dan,
Dan.
21.
That's it, 100%. Yeah, that's it, Dan. Just one syllable.
Yeah.
That's
It
it.
definitely
And
would
could be
stand
misheard
out.
in so many different ways. Dan.
Not in a good
That's
way.
No. But yeah, I think that's my
No,
fix.
yeah.
So that any player that will struggle because of their basic name, they can come up with like the Brazilian style one name. There is a word for it, but yeah, one name and stands you out.
Yeah. Or I could do my name backwards and instead of Dan, just be Nads. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good point
And
because
you go, go Nads.
oh,
Exactly.
but we
Thank
do
you
need
for filling
to.
that
It kind of
joke in for me.
links. That kind of reminds me of nicknames. So we need to fix nicknames in football. If you're coming up with a nickname, you know
Yeah.
the whole changing room chats that you'd have, and you'd say, "Oi, Giggsy," you know.
Yeah.
You've got to have a nickname.
But the whole putting Y on the end of a surname to make it a football nickname, that only works if you have one, maybe at most two syllables. My surname's three syllables. I was never allowed that.
Also, I don't think it works for James either. Jamesy. That doesn't work, does it?
Jamesy works.
As a footballer.
Oh, no, as a footballer. No.
It's
So a
quite-
football
it
nickname.
sounds quite.
Jamesy.
Yeah.
Hi, Jamesy. Yes, darling.
Yeah,
Sounds
but
like-
you always do it for the surname, though, don't you? But it still doesn't work.
That doesn't
your
work for
surname.
me either.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't become a professional footballer.
Yeah, that is true, actually. So we need to come up with a way to allow 2 and 3 syllabled surname people to have a football nickname.
Oh, actually, I figured this out. Basically, we don't need to do that because it was right that I didn't go into professional football. I've found my career path. I'm now fixing football. I'm
Yeah.
obviously the clever academic mind, and I'm needed in this field.
Obviously,
Whereas if you're named...
I think that's a stretch.
it is a bit of a stretch, yeah.
If you're named Carlos Fernando Aguero or something, then naturally you're going to go into elite football.
Yeah,
So-
true.
so
You've got to
th-
be born with that name, I suppose, don't you?
Exactly. If you go
Yeah.
into football and you don't have the right name, you have to expect that there's going to be some balance, whether you're going to suffer with injuries or
Yeah,
all those, you know, you're going to
just
get the
im-
karma, essentially.
yeah.
I've just imagined a narrative where an estranged boy who forgets his family history and he thinks his name is Bob, and then one day he finds out his name is actually like Rabinio Angelo Perez, and suddenly someone gives him a football and he goes, "I am ready,"
Yeah, well, that's the
and
thing.
life happens for him.
That's
That's
it.
exactly the case with Robinho, because Robinho, he has a great Brazilian name. It's brilliant, and you know, you see him play and you think, wow, he could be a great player, but actually he turned out to be pretty nasty character, and he didn't really live up to his talents because his name is actually Robson. And it's only because
So
he's
he
the
was a
son of Robson, so he became Robinho. Enio in Portuguese is like son
Son
of.
of, yeah.
So
So-
actually, he wasn't Robinho, he was just Robson.
Are you calling him a fraud?
A little bit, yeah. I think he
Wow.
tried to live up to his Robinho name, but the reality is he was actually Robson, so he didn't really, he wasn't able to reach the levels that he should have as a Robinho.
And you can't fool the football gods. The football gods will make sure there is balance.
You will be punished, yeah.
I don't know. There was Bobby Robson and there was Brian Robson, so there were two very big footballing icons with the name Robson.
That's true, but they had to play in black and white. They never got to see colour. They were always living in black and white, weren't they?
That's true.
Yeah,
sad
I suppose
times.
did that. So that helped then. Oh, I see. That was the that was their struggle.
That
they
was
had
the
to
struggle.
work with.
Yeah.
The
To live in black
I
and white.
see.
Yeah.
And if you
I
have
see,
last
I see, I
fix,
see.
last fix, if you have a double-barreled surname,
Don't
don't
take one away. Yeah.
take one away. Don't be selfish.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Was that a
Yeah.
fair fix? I
Think
think
of-
that's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, because think of like with the double barrel surname. Think of the amount you're costing those poor children to get that name on the back of their shirt.
That's the other thing. It's
Yeah.
selfish. It's
Think
inconsiderate.
of the children. Yeah.
Hopefully, the football gods are hearing this.
Yeah.
Right. Well, good fixes there, gentlemen. I like it. Shall we get into some fantasy football talk? Here is John's Juicy Tips. Juicy.
Say my name, John.
John's Juicy Tips.
All right. Big congratulations are in order for a team that plays in red with the best fans in the world. Yes, Bristol City have reached the Championship playoffs. Drink up ye cider, drink up ye cider. You never know, you might be able to get Scott Twine and Naki Wells in your FPL teams for next season. But for now, here's my tips. In defence, it's Nathan Collins for Brentford. He's the target man for most of their set pieces, and they have a game against a leaky Ipswich Town side. In midfield, it's the guy I'm always trying to get in my team, but I never do. It's Jared Bowen for West Ham. He's got a great fixture against Manchester United. He's got 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games. And up front, it's the Kiwi woodchopper. It's Chris Wood for Nottingham Forest. He's got Leicester at home. I bet he's going to chop through their defence. Juicy.
Thanks, John, as always. I mean, we can see why John didn't make it as a professional footballer as well, can't we? With
That's true. With a name like John.
A name like John.
We should give him a name which is like one name, like the whole Brazilian thing, and a Y on the end. We call him Tipsy.
Oh, yeah, Tipsy.
Yeah.
That works.
Oh, that is good. Or Johnny Leo.
Johnny.
That could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Oh,
might.
yeah.
He was punished by not being able to see anyone else on the pitch. So
Are you
whenever
calling
he
him
had,
selfish?
whenever he had the ball, you think he must see me. I'm in space. I'm here. I'm gonna score a tap in. All he has to do is look up, and he'd run through 3 people, lose the ball, and he was punished with a
Wow.
lack of vision, and that was the thing. So
it.
the football gods don't miss these things.
Wow.
I do remember the ball sticking into his feet, though. I do remember quite a few times John running past a lot of players, and he'd come out the end of it, and you think, how on earth has he kept that?
He doesn't know either.
Right.
His vision is just so kind of like he doesn't have any control over it. But thanks, John, for those juicy tips, as always. In terms of fantasy football, we've got a couple of games to go, guys, and it is getting tense. Dan and
Not
I...
for me.
No, not for you, no.
I'm
No,
well clear of
He's
you
way in the
guys.
clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, actually. You've actually done a half decent, Sess. Where are you? You're in the top 10 almost? You're 11th at time of recording.
Yeah.
Not bad. Obviously, we still got 1 or 2 fixtures to go.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's all between...
exceptional.
It's the mid-table
I'd give
battle.
a limb to be 11th right now.
That's the thing. Where the action is happening is mid-table. Dan and I...
Down in 25th.
25th and 26th. That's where the battle is really happening.
Yeah.
Dan and I are leapfrogging each other. Currently, I sit 7 points ahead of him with, 3 games to go? This is exciting.
Wow.
Are we going to follow John's tips?
Well, the forfeit, you mentioned what the forfeit's going to be. This is going to be quite interesting. What is it going to be, James?
It is, yeah. So last week we mentioned that Leon, one of our listeners, gave us a nomination for the Ice Bucket Challenge, because that's going round again for a new cause. And we've been nominated as a podcast. So what we thought we'd do is whoever comes bottom out of Dan and me, or Sess, potentially.
Yeah. If I had a terrible
Yeah, 'cause that's
3
gonna
games.
happen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, knowing you, when you do your transfers and stuff, you end up deducting yourself 24
That's
whatever
true.
points.
I'd be even higher without that. Yeah.
It is possible. So, whoever loses has to wear Man United top if it's me, because I'm an Arsenal fan, so that would be painful. And Dan would have to wear an Arsenal top if he loses, because he's a Man United fan. And be humiliated with ice water chucked over us as well. So,
Excellent.
we'll have to watch this space. The next few games are going to be tense
And as the-
interesting.
As the leader, I'm going to pour the water on one of you guys, right?
Maybe.
Because I'm thinking I might not even pour it. I might just drop the bucket on you guys.
Just from a great height.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not looking for. I mean, we were around for the first round of Ice Bucket challenges. Can we just like recycle some old footage?
That's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
I tried saying that to Leon, but he wasn't having any of it. So
Oh, right.
I mean, when I did
Okay.
it was about 13, 14 years ago. I look a little bit different now.
yeah,
I
you
don't know if
actually
I'd get
poured it
away with
over
it.
my
We
head
passed.
last time.
Did I?
I was wearing a football kit because I finished playing football that night, obviously, because I play every night.
How do I not remember this?
And it's on Facebook somewhere. And it was it 2015, 2014, something
Wow.
like that.
I actually got to pour ice water on you, and I didn't
Yeah.
leave it in my memory bank.
Well, you were the only one around because we were living together, and we tried to scrape ice out of our terrible freezer, but it didn't
Oh,
really
right.
work. And make it as
wow.
cold as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so its footage is around there somewhere. So
Excellent. Everyone, go and find it now.
there you go. There's another one fixed, guys. Pleased with that. Was it footballers' names? Oh, that's
Yeah.
another problem that people don't have to worry about.
Fixed by
I'm-
Cecinio, Dennis, and Dan.
Yes, I'm a little bit gutted. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it in a later episode maybe, but this was a good opportunity to bring in a game that I played with my brothers for a long time called Player or Naya, and we've got this bank of all these names that you would never believe were sports players, and it's really, really good. So
Oh
well, that might be something we'll have to introduce at a later time. Play it or Naya, and I'll give you guys a list of names, and you have to tell me if you think they're real or not. And my brother made a list of imaginary names that could pass for these ridiculous sports players' names.
Amazing.
It's good fun.
And
It's
that's
good
it,
fun. So
there
we'll
are,
have to do
yeah.
this at a later episode.
I remember you giving me a brief of that game before, Dan, and it is good fun. And that's what Sass and I were thinking about. Whenever you're watching a football match, in the future,
Yeah.
look at the player names. Look, should they be footballers?
Yeah.
Are they in the right place? If they are footballers, are they good?
Yeah.
So if your name is Patterson or something, you're
Yeah.
probably either, if you are a good footballer, you've got some tragic sort of bad luck coming your way soon, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Do have a great week, and hopefully we've reassured you that football is fixable. All right. It's goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.